How's it going, everybody? So we have a fun review today as we're talking Alien Romulus. So this is definitely one of my most anticipated films for the entire year. I'm a huge fan of the Alien franchise and the Predator franchise, so I was hoping, much like we saw a couple years back with Prey, and the way that reinvigorated the Predator franchise as a whole, I did have some high expectations that Fede Alvarez could do the exact same thing for the Alien franchise. While scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station, a group of young space colonizers come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe. Many fans of the Alien franchise are well aware of the fact that the franchise, by and large, has had a lot of ebbs and flows. We've had some pretty decent sequels and prequels along the way, some of which I like more than others, but for the most part, essentially, Alien and Aliens are so high above everything else in the franchise that it's really hard to compete with those level of masterpieces. And what Fede Alvarez delivers here with Alien Romulus almost perfectly bridges that gap in quality, because this film beautifully complements Alien and Aliens while still managing to craft its own immensely engaging, terrifying legacy in the process. It's clear that Fede Alvarez wanted to take the best ingredients from the first two Alien films, the ones that are staples of the franchise, blend them together with his usual darker style and tone to tremendous effect. There's a plethora of intense, bloody, epic sci-fi action spectacle like Aliens, while still managing to keep the feelings instilled tonally from Ridley Scott's original. The ominous, claustrophobic tension that builds throughout multiple elaborate set pieces that only get more under your skin the deeper we go into the film, in almost a literal sense with how nasty this movie gets as the characters are trying to survive. If you've seen any of Alvarez's previous work, like the Evil Dead remake or Don't Breathe, you kind of have a general idea of what kind of horror you're in store for. The kind of ironic thing about this movie is Alien Romulus feels almost like Don't Breathe, but in space. The general idea of both films are strikingly similar. The only difference here is that it's not Stephen Lang, it's xenomorphs. But anyways, when it comes to Fede Alvarez's style of horror, you generally know you're in for some pretty messed up, gnarly visuals. Though I don't think he tops any of the gnarly body horror that we saw in the Evil Dead remake, he gets pretty damn close to some of the stuff that we see in Alien Romulus. The utilization of the facehuggers and xenomorphs throughout the film are some of the scariest sequences of the franchise, and the nastiest. They do a great job making xenomorphs scary again. Since I consider myself a pretty big horror fan, I'm usually able to stomach a lot of the nasty things you see in horror movies, but there's still some sequences in this, much like in the Evil Dead remake, I was tempted to look away because of how nasty and brutal it was. I forever will be traumatized by what I saw the facehuggers do to these poor people. A good chunk of that, I think, is attributed to the exceptional practical work effects here. All of those aspects excel when it comes to the variety of creative kills, chest-bursting transformations, and the xenomorphs here look amazing. I love the overall styling of the xenomorphs here. They, of course, still look like the usual xenomorphs, but they do have a bit more of a grit to them. On top of all this, the sound design for the movie I found to be impeccable as well. The noises of everything enhances how gross and terrifying everything you're watching happening is. Surprisingly, I didn't realize until recently that there was so much backlash with the casting for Alien Romulus because it is predominantly focused around younger actors. For the most part, though, I think the cast here was pretty solid. The film does a pretty good job fleshing out several of the characters on this expedition in the beginning of the film, so there is some level of investment and development for some of these characters before we jump into them getting massacred by xenomorphs. Not every single character is that interesting. Some of them are very much just here to increase the body count, but there were a few in particular I felt were pretty big standouts of the cast. Firstly, Isabela Merced. I think she cements herself as someone that should be doing a lot more horror after this. Kind of get glimpses of the hell that she's put through in the trailers, and then you watch the film and you realize it's actually so much worse. The biggest surprise out of this cast was Dave Jonsson. His character Andy goes in a direction that I wasn't expecting, and the longer that he was on screen, the more I found him and his character to be incredible. Arguably, I would say he's probably the best character of the entire cast. Some people would probably think it's Cailee Spaney who plays Rain. For the most part, I think she does a pretty good job. She's for sure a solid protagonist, and it was awesome seeing her face off against xenomorphs and getting to be this badass heroine, but I was left wanting a little bit more from her performance. She wasn't as compelling as I was hoping for, but she still does a pretty good job. Since I only lightly touched upon the set pieces earlier, I have to say, about the last 40 minutes or so of Alien Romulus, the third act and the finale, it is just absolutely insane in the best of ways. I would say it rivals some of the craziest stuff I've seen on screen this year in the action sci-fi horror category. Of course, the horror more so is in the forefront for Alien Romulus. The sci-fi action sequences are just as beautifully executed, and I love how Fede Alvarez shoots it while getting creative with stuff like gravity. Since Alien Romulus timeline-wise is set in between Alien and Aliens, I think it was pretty cool that they tried to add some interesting lore to the franchise. The movie does still do a good job of standing on its own, not having to rely on Alien or Aliens, but manages to sprinkle in a nice amount of Easter eggs that fans of the franchise will genuinely appreciate. Low-key though, I am kind of nervous on some of the lore more they decide to add into the franchise here. I have a feeling that there's some people out there that are fans of the franchise also are going to be kind of mad. As we all know, a majority of these Alien films do kind of have a formula to them, and that formula is prevalent in Alien Romulus. There are a few things here and there that kind of subvert that usual formula, shake things up a bit in a positive light. All around, Alien Romulus is a brutal but awesome new entry for the franchise. It's an intense, horrifying thrill ride that brings some fresh new life into the universe that I feel fans will more than likely appreciate. Considering that I was somebody that was skeptical many years ago about Disney buying Fox and then taking over properties like Predator and Alien, I'm genuinely impressed that with Prey and Alien Romulus, it seems like they actually do care about making great entries for these franchises. I'm very excited to see where the directions for both Alien and even Predator go in the future. I mean, we already know that Noah Hawley is working on a TV show set in the Alien universe, so consider myself even more stoked after this film. But once you get a chance to check out Alien Romulus in theaters, make sure you share your thoughts down below. What'd you think of the film? Did you like the film? Did you not like the film? Share your thoughts down below because the fun is that conversation with you guys in the comment section. Thank you guys. As always, check out videos. I always do appreciate it. Make sure you like on the video and also subscribe to the channel so you update reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. But next time, I'll see you guys later.